This is JP Bangs Music.
Soak it up,
Purchase your
boy.
tracks
You
today.
know, you 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 know. Soak it up, boy. You know, you know, you know, you know, you know, you know, you know.
Hey everyone, welcome to Straight from the Horse's Mouth. Just like the theme song says, soak it up. We got the pleasure of bringing a really great guest today to talk about recruiting, talk about just college football landscape overall, what's going on. You know me, I got to give a shout out to some of my peoples. First, James Hicks, my man, 9 grand in the background doing his thing, always showing us good. Got to give a shout out to Chris Smith, my partner in crime, Ruben Pena. J.R. Tover, Keely Smith for yesterday, everything, man, just doing the really, really big things for us, man. I appreciate all the support. But we know right now it's time to get down to straight to the horse's mouth. Like I said, I have a great guest today. This man's been in coaching profession for 24 years. He's been in the college profession for 24 years coaching. He was a finalist for Coaches of the Year several years ago. He's elevated his game everywhere gone. I've been knowing him for like the past, I don't know, probably 10 years. And I've just seen him grow and grow and grow. And now he's in a great place. He's at the University of St. Thomas, which is a Division I program. We're going to talk about all that. Well, let's bring Mr. Coach Dodson onto the show.
What's going on? How's it going?
Man, you big man. I'm so, like I said, so proud, man. I've been there when you was at the Division III program, all the way to see you now. And you the man that showed me on Minnesota how great Minnesota is. So I can't even front. You used to tell me always how great the city is, and I've had the pleasure of being there several times, and I agree with you 100% except for that below zero weather. Everything else is great until we get to that minus digits, that number.
Hey, well, let's make it clear. Right now, it's like 87 degrees. So,
Yes.
it has its comes and goes. We say the 0 degree keep the riffraff away.
Oh, man, you ain't lying about that. Hey, I'll tell you this. If Minnesota didn't have that part of that winter, that's that 4-week stretch of the winter, that might be the hotbed for everybody to live. It's a beautiful place, beautiful people. I can't say enough good things about the Twin Cities, so I love it out there.
Absolutely.
So, hey, I gave you just a brief in the roses about you and your background. Go ahead and explain to everybody where you at, where you from, what you do, and then we'll jump into it.
Yeah, so currently I'm at the University of St. Thomas here, located in the Twin Cities. It's absolutely beautiful. If you haven't been out, to the northern part of the Midwest, the Twin Cities, you're looking at a population of about 3 million people in the surrounding areas. Where we're located, we got 19 Fortune 500 companies, located within 12 miles of the school. So, that creates incredible job opportunities, which our guys get, at a really high rate. Also, internships. You have all the major sports here: soccer, football, basketball, baseball. Also, all the entertainment venues. So, if there's a concert, they roll through this area. Plus, when you want to get away, there's 10,000 lakes. Whether you want to go fishing, whether you want to hop on a jet ski when it get cold, skiing, those type things. So it's really everything that you want in the location.
Absolutely. I'll second. The campus is absolutely amazing. I had the pleasure of visiting the campus. The football field's nestled in the middle of downtown St. Paul. If you guys haven't been to St. Paul, incredible college town. One of the most incredible downtown areas for college students I've ever seen. I think they have a total of 9 colleges nestled in downtown, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like 9 universities, all within like a half a mile apart, right? Like a half a mile.
Colleges and churches all around this place.
Yeah. That's all that's there. And so it's definitely a great place to be. I think that they have a lot to offer. And I think you guys don't get enough definitely plug here on the West Coast and understand how wonderful your guys' campus is. It's just great. Now, let's get to the nitty gritty. The Tommies are in what division now? What division you guys are now? You guys are Division I AA.
Yeah, FCS. Yeah, we're in the
Yeah,
FCS.
FCS.
I know we still talk about one double A, but yeah, we're in the FCS
Yep.
division now.
The FCS division. You guys play against, hometown team, USD, San Diego, usually even at least every two times every 3 years, right? You guys will skip one
Yeah,
year, but it's at least two times every 3 years.
yeah. So this past year was the first time that we got a chance to go down to San Diego and play San Diego, and it was an incredible game. Just so much pride in that university and what they've done. We respect the heck out of them. I think it was a 27-24 game. We lost in the last second. So, they've been champions in that league for a long time for a reason. And, we wanted to come down there and give it our best shot.
Absolutely. And you guys are in the Pioneer Division. And I want to talk about a little bit about the Pioneer Division. The way the recruiting is done there, structured there. I want you to explain. I want you to explain how's the recruiting done in the Pioneer Division by itself. Please elaborate.
Yeah. So, we're very proud to be in the Pioneer League. The Pioneer League stretches from coast to coast. You have San Diego, and you can go as far, I guess, east as New York, or whether you want to call Florida more east than New York. But you get a chance to see, just all parts of the country, and we think that's a valuable part of education. We get a chance to fly on our charter flights, and most of our flights are like 3 hours long, and get to bypass all the security measures. But we're really proud to be part of these institutions that value on academics. And one of the unique things about our conference is it's all merit based and academic based. There's no football scholarships in there, but there's plenty of academic money, and we take pride in rewarding people's intelligence, as well as their insight and what they value that they give to the community. So we absolutely love the challenge that we find week to week in our conference, and it's been a great first year, and we're looking forward to year number two.
Let's talk about some of the challenges you've had in recruiting. Now that you guys are a non-scholarship, FCS program, let's talk about some of the roadblocks and some of the things you've been able to kind of accomplish and jump over, being in that situation.
Yeah, I think one of the, as we expand our footprint is really just getting a chance for people to know who the University of St. Thomas is. And then once we do that, is the education on how, our financial packages work, how the academic, when we go on road games, how does the school help supplement for the education and missing of classes. I think one of the main roadblocks is, just educating people on, how the financial packages work, and, what value they can get out of education. When you broaden people's horizon and explain to them about internships and how that's going to impact their entire lives. And when you talk about uh, uh, the graduate programs that we offer, the the study abroad programs that we offer, where
Yeah.
our guys going all across the world to continue their education. Then most important, like I mentioned before, when you just talk about the job opportunities once you leave here, I mean, and really just trying to educate people. Everyone says education is first, but when you really put it in front of them and explain those things, I think that's when it becomes the challenge, and seeing how the process and the steps work to make sure that we can help them accomplish their goals.
Yeah, no, I thought it was very interesting when we went on the tour, that you guys really do take pride in when job placement, upon graduation, job placement. The average salary is somewhere in between $50,000 to $70,000 for your
Yes,
graduates, right, when they come out the back.
yes,
So, for a person that's 22 years old, that's a lot of money. For a person that's beyond 22 years, that's a lot of money. But it's
absolutely.
very interesting that you guys really pride yourself on job placement, where you're at. They usually fall in that pay range typically for them to get their education, and that you guys' job placement rate, I think, is in the 90 percentile. It's super high
Yeah,
within college.
when we look at our football program, I've been to 8 different programs, and what Coach Caruso does here is so extensive into making sure that you know our players get the best opportunities. I mean, we have a step by step, year by year program to make sure that they can gain experience. They can gain negotiation experience. They can make sure that they meet our incredible Tommy alumni base, which is, I mean, it's second to none as far as being out there and being aggressive and making sure that we take care of each other when it comes to job selection. So it is intentional, and it's pretty intense. We have our guys go through for 4 years.
Absolutely. Let's talk about it in the recruiting aspect, because we know that you're not scholarship about people that are military based. Like, explain that process. If you have a military background, how does that affect you in your recruiting process, and how does it affect you guys directly? With the Tommies.
Yeah, we've been blessed. Actually, we weren't as educated. Once again, this is a new territory for us in recruiting Division One. So we are one of just to say a handful of schools that accept the Yellow Ribbon program. And the Yellow Ribbon program, I mean, you can definitely get out there and research it if your family is military, retired military. I think through 2018, and our school is highly involved in it. So if you are part of the Yellow Ribbon program, they have different packages in which they accept and what they offer you as far as financial support. And I think each family is a little bit different. I don't want to get too specific with it, but as far as what we accept, we're one of the highest acceptance rates of the Yellow Ribbon program in the entire country.
I think that's so huge, especially coming from California, where we have a big military presence, up and down the state, and other states as well. But definitely in California, we have a big military presence. I don't think kids understand that those opportunities or options are even there for them. They look at the GI Bill or the bill their parents are able to give them, which is usually local, right? Local state, California, they can go to any state school for free. But when those state schools don't have football, they want to continue to play or have an opportunity to play. The Yellow Ribbon program is what comes into effect, right? It helps them out tremendously, financially with the paying the school. So I really wanted to highlight that and really make sure that's a strong point in this conversation.
And I think, Montel, this is why this platform and what you do is so important as far as like education, right? So like these are not common everyday conversations, telling people where they can find resources and get information. So just like, having this platform, bringing it up to the forefront, and when people listen to it, I hope they pass it to their neighbors and say, hey, listen to this. This is some great education. Have you heard of the Yellow Ribbon program? No one's talk about that in the recruiting process. And these are great opportunities where some of our students are actually paying zero to go to school because, they are fully funded through the Yellow Ribbon program. You're talking about $250,000 education that, they get supplemented at such a high rate. So, I mean, things what you're doing, continuous what you're doing as far as education. I mean, I just want to say thank you because I mean it can help so many different people if they just just pay attention to the messages that you're delivering.
No, I think that's what Straight from the Horse's Mouth means. I want to get it from you and not hear it from me, so they don't get secondhand information and they get a chance to understand how beneficial these programs, these opportunities can be for them. I really believe a lot of kids miss out on opportunity, and this isn't just for football. I think people, because I'm a big in the football community, think it's just football. It's every sport. Matter of fact, it's not sports. If you're not even involved in sports, the Yellow Ribbon program can benefit you to go to schools such as University of St. Thomas. So I think it's something that people need to take advantage of, especially, like I said, we have a heavy military presence in Southern California within the San Diego community and also everywhere else. But I mean, from Oceanside all the way on. So if they're part of the armed forces or their family has some backing, I think once your child becomes a senior or looking for schools, they need to educate themselves and know, hey, let me look at the Yellow Ribbon program and see what schools offer this opportunity for my child and not just be so confined to California. Because California, don't get me wrong, I love my state. We have great schools, but there are also opportunities elsewhere for them to be able to take advantage of.
Absolutely, and like we tell, it's Minnesota and St. Thomas is not for everybody, but we do have our niche, and when it comes to just creating opportunities and being in the Midwest and being a part of a private school and private school education and a smaller community. I mean, we offer that. So yeah, just continuing the outreach for people that maybe want something a little bit different, something a little unique, and maybe something a little bit more personalized for them. Uh, it's a great opportunity.
Tell me something, someone. Let's talk about film, right? Film evaluation. Let's go back and kind of the football realm of things. Film evaluation. I want to know what do you look for in film, and what is the thing that absolutely drives you nuts when you watch film that it'll basically, it'll X somebody's opportunity to come play for you guys.
Well, what I look for in film, I think first and foremost is uh, consistency, consistency in performance. From a defensive standpoint, let's just go with a defensive guy. Like when we're looking for explosiveness, right? And we can find explosiveness in a couple of different ways, whether it's a way that a person reacts to a certain stimuli, or the way a guy puts his foot in the ground and then he covers ground, or the way he accelerates into a tackle. That explosiveness really jumps off with how we play defense. If you look at our defense, it's an incredibly explosive group, one of the top defenses in the country. So that, from a defensive standpoint, that's what we're looking for. If we flip it and we look for on the offensive line, because that's where it really starts for us. Um, Guys with that number one is going to be consistent. That they're not on the ground all the time. That they can show some athletic ability and change of direction. Those are the things that we look for. Now, I think one of the things that when you say what drives you crazy is, I don't necessarily say it drives me crazy, but it gives me a glimpse into who the young people are, and what they put on film. They would that level of acceptance. So if they put like a okay play on there, or a play where they're not hustling on the field, or they put in a play where it's an illegal hit, those are things that you get a glance into who or what they think is acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really helps me out. Like, oh, you think those things are acceptable, especially when you come into a high culture, and a high winning organization like St. Thomas. Like, those things are not acceptable. Like, if you think that you start a play and you're not running or sprinting or anything like that, you just kind of jump on a play like that. That's not acceptable, and we'll have to kind of change your mindset. So those are the things that I really try to educate guys. Like, don't put that on there. Like, put your highlights on there, and try to be as consistent. Understand who you are. If you are a wide receiver and you think that you're a bigger wide receiver and you can go catch competitive combat catches, well, put that on there. Don't put on there a hitch and you just get tackled for no yards. That's anybody can
Yeah,
do that one, but show what it is that who you believe you are, and be consistent with that.
I think it's interesting what you just said. Consistency is one, and what you as a player accepts on your film that you think is a highlight. Like, I've seen kids, I try to tell kids, one, minimize your highlight reel to no less than 5 minutes, and your first 5 plays better be your best plays,
Yes.
to catch your eye.
Yes.
But I see a lot of kids, a kid will be kind of loafing and he'll get an interception, then he'll take off, right? Or he'll take off, or he'll be loafing and he'll see opportunity, and he'll run and make a big play after that. I think you're right. That shows kind of indicative how that person or that player is on the field, or that mindset of that person, that kid. And you have to go on, evaluate if he's right for the culture, right? For your team's
Yes.
culture at that point.
Yeah.
So I would hope coaches and kids listen to this and understand, when you're doing your film, really evaluate what you're putting out there. And I tell them, because you made a play doesn't necessarily mean it's a good play. You got to show your plays what you're doing. And I think you were alluding to definitely hips. You want to be able to show hips, hip movement, explosion, redirection, plant and go. Do you have loose hips or do you not? And if you don't, that's something you need to work on consistently as you get older and you want to further your career in college football. Those things are very important. And I think people don't talk about that at all when they talk about film. They're just like, I want to see your highlights, see how big you are, slow, how big you are, how fast you are, and then we could do that. But I think more depth in the evaluation from you guys give kids more depth that they will put in the building the film for you guys to evaluate to get a true testament of how they are as athletes on the field.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one thing, just to kind of add on to it, I think if it, be, it becomes a negative, like if you don't see the finish of the play, like you'll see the guys like, like is a fumble or not, or those plays where you just don't see the finish of it. I think that's a big part of it. If you try to cut it off, like, oh, did he drop it, or like they'll do not show the finish of it, and that kind of goes into the mindset, like for us in our culture, right? It's like we want to see. It's all about finishing the plays. If it's not a highlight, it's not a highlight. Then let's just move on.
Yeah. I think this is something parents need to hear too, because as we know now in this day and age, parents are really involved in their kids' recruiting process. They need to get a better understanding also what to look for in film as they're shopping their kid around. I think they really got to be very, very meticulous in what they put on film. Because I got an interesting from last week when I did an interview with Coach Hepler. He was talking about, I look at not only the positives, but I'm looking at the negatives on the film. Not just to your point about loafing, but your negative technique. If your technique's off. I can see glaring weaknesses when I watch your film. If I see a glaring weakness on your watching your film, that's almost more detrimental than you showing me a play that you made a big play or a big hit or something on. If I see you're a linebacker and you didn't take a false step and you didn't shuffle, and you just made a big hit. If I know you don't do it and I see that on 1 or 2 or 3 plays, that's detrimental. Because I know you don't stop to read. You're just reacting to whatever you see, and you happen to just guess right. Just guessing right on the play.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And to me, that's a trained eye. If I'm speaking to the kids, I would just say, they have to be who they are. But think of it at the highest level of, like, put your best plays on there. Don't loaf. Like you said, if you made the tip ball and you were, not in good coverage on there, we're gonna see that you weren't in good coverage and you just happened to be at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And just because you catch it and get tackled 5 yards, that's not like the guy wasn't even in his thirds. So that don't count. So I just think just having a little bit of intuition into what it is you want to make sure that we see. I think that's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just the power of no, right? The power of no, giving them the opportunity to say, let me put my best film out there, showing my great technique I think that gives you more of an opportunity to be recruited than putting a bunch of highlights in there and when you're out of position and you're not really doing the right thing within that play. And I'm guilty of it myself. I mean, I can't lie. I remember putting my kids thing, I want, he made a big hit, but now that I got more mature, when I look at him, oh, that was a bad play. He just kind of just guessed right and made an opportunity. Let's talk a little bit about social media. And I know this is something that's affecting everybody on every recruiting level. What are the things, again, when we come to recruitment, what do you like to see in social media? And what are the things that just straight, basically offer killers? They just, if this is on your social media, we're basically, that shows your character and we gotta cut you loose.
Yeah. I believe, if you can't be proud of it, if you can't be proud of what you're posting on there, if your grandma's not going to be proud of what you're posting on social media, don't put it on there. And I think it's really important for everyone to understand, like when you are on your like Twitter, like you're not talking to your friends. You're not talking to your friends. You're talking to your girlfriend. You're that's your profile. That's your professional profile that you're doing. You're talking to the world, and you're talking directly to the coach. And we want to make sure that you have a good awareness of the platform that you'll use because. Uh, you'll be integrated into our family, and how you present, how you communicate out there, the awareness, the intuition, and the power that you have with that responsibility, that's very important. We I, I'm really big on, do they understand who they talking to, no matter how good of a player they are, because I mean they can ruin everything by just not being smart and having good intuition. I think one of the things I'll say this, one of the things that I hope that the 2023s and 24s improve on, especially with Twitter, is like their where they're from. Put it on their Twitter, on their Twitter page, because that's really helpful for us to make sure that if there is a guy that's communicating, we can get that person to the right coach who's recruiting that area. So just have just fill out the profile completely, as
Yeah.
if you're communicating your name. If you can get your real name or as close to your real name on there, that is incredibly helpful. And then as much positive information as far as profile building on there, that would be incredibly helpful. Their
No,
videos,
I think you're right. I think you're spot on. I think kids do need to understand that's part of your brand now.
yes,
You don't want your brand to be John 22:9. I'm in the house. That's not your brand. That's your moniker of your Twitter. But they need to have your real name. A place where they can contact you. Your real information. I'm not big on putting your phone number out there because that's a little bit deadly. I mean, not deadly, but that's a little bit out there. Anyone can use it. But I do believe they need to use their source of contacts, whether it be Instagram, Twitter, and email. And if you put your email on there, make sure you check your email. I know a lot of
yes,
kids, they put their email on there and they never check it. So they don't know if a coach has reached out to them. So they got to be really diligent on there. And I think that's for parents as well. Parents need to understand when those kids are building their profiles out for their Twitter, to make sure they have as much information out there that's not too detrimental,
right.
for him to be out there for people to call him. But enough information for coaches to be able to contact him and get in touch with them, and kind of engage his interest into the school.
Yeah,
Um,
and along those lines, I think making sure that their messages are open, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many profiles that I've went across, and I like the kid, and his message box is not open, and next thing you know, it's January 21st, and he's like, Coach, I'm like, well, I've been trying to contact you, and email or whatever the case may be, but you don't have your messages open, so let's just keep your messages open.
And I read a quote. I read a quote that's interesting yesterday about definitely Division 2, and one of the coaches said, "I can't believe how many division coaches get disrespected by recruits nowadays." And I can only imagine how that trickles down now to FCS. How many FCS are disrespected by recruits. And what I mean by disrespect is, I mean they don't return phone calls. Um, they're not. I don't want to say professional because we're asking 16, 17, 18-year-olds to be professional, but at least be cordial, right? Be responsive to things that happen. Um, be mannerable. I think that's the word. Be mannerable. And what I mean by being mannerable, if someone takes the time out to give you a call, I expect you to take the time out of your day to return their phone call or return a message. How do you feel? Do you think is that an accurate statement by that coach? And do you feel it's trickling down at your level as well?
Well, I think it kind of all depends. If if you go back 10, 12 years, that was the thing. Um, I think that's a two way scenario. I think the first scenario is the approach, and what it is that we're trying to communicate, but and also the awareness of the student athlete, potential student athlete. If the potential student athlete, is doesn't have a good understanding of where he is in the recruiting process, and he just doesn't want to talk to somebody from Division 2 or Division 3, whatever. Uh, you know, who is there to educate that student athlete to say, hey, you know what? Just text them back and say, thank you, coach. Right now, I already have a top 10 list. I mean, if that's the case, then those are the tools that you use just to make sure that you communicate and keep some courtesy. Now, also, it's not just all on the prospect; it's also on the coach. The coach needs to make sure that when he approaches and respects the student's space and what the student athlete wants. You have to be okay with them telling you no, not at this time. I'm looking at some other schools. So I think it's a two-way understanding of how those communication goes. I've been coaching for 25 years, been recruiting, out of state for 25 years. So I know that people sometimes think of Minnesota and they're like, no, absolutely not. And I don't get responses right away. But then it's up to me to try to communicate. And then at a certain point, if I don't get that communication, then it's time to move on because some people communicate with you directly. Some people communicate with you without communication. So it's a two-way street. So I think the profession and the recruiting would be a lot better if everyone learns how to communicate respectfully. I think we can get a lot farther faster.
Yeah, I agree. I just think there's I deem some of it as disrespectful. I'm about to disagree with the two-way street. I think that coaches do take their time out. You guys evaluate hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of recruits, and the fact that you selected those 5 to 10 kids and you really want to reach out to them and call them. I don't care if you got an offer from Alabama, right? If you got an offer from Alabama, that's fine. But like you said, you can respectfully communicate with me and say, "Hey, coach, I've already committed," or "Coach, I think I want to go in a different direction," or "Coach, you know what? I don't feel Minnesota's right for me." But I don't know if that starts with the child, or does it start with the team, or does that start with the home? You know what I mean? If it's the home, and I don't want to blame it on parents because it's not parents. I mean, parents aren't the ones getting the calls as kids. But I
Yeah.
mean, there's some root of that because that is not tolerated in the real world. And when I mean the real world, the real professional world. If
Well,
you as my boss calls me, or you as a client calls me, and I don't call them back, I lose that business. So this is a
100%.
business.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's
So
to me, once again, and I love that we disagree. I
yeah.
absolutely love it. So, like, I wouldn't necessarily, I don't take that personal. I just say
Hmm.
these kids don't have the tools necessary to communicate. Now, I've been disrespected and those type things, and next thing you know, it's the week before signing day, and they want to call you and all that good stuff, and you learn lessons, and you can learn lessons because just like you said, well, in 5 years from now, you ain't gonna be able to do that
Yeah.
because you're going to lose money.
Hmm.
But hopefully during that time, you get the right tools to learn how to communicate, learn how to negotiate, because that's a negotiation tactic. Like, no, not at
Hmm.
this time. So I just try not to take it personally, I try to educate each student athlete. I mean, even right now, I have kids that are not trying to call back, but I just shoot them another text and say, hey, you know what, da 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 da. Give them some tools and let them know it's okay if they tell me no. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just my approach.
No, I agree. I think there's several approaches to it. I don't think on your end there's anything going on wrong. I really don't. I think on the coaches end, when they start to reach out, that reach out process, I don't think anything's wrong. I think the wrong part is on the parents and the recruitees end when they just don't acknowledge or not show interest, but just don't acknowledge and be mannerable and be respectful in their response, whether they say yes or no. Because like we both know in this game, it goes down to the last wire. Oh, you're gonna get people calling you in June, July, asking, "Hey, coach, is there any way I can get back get on the team?" So we know it goes all the way down to the end. I'm saying we need to learn as in the early process, or recruits need to learn in the early process. You need to be able to be respectful and take that few minutes out of your time, out of your day, to text that coach and tell him whatever he needs to tell him. Whether it be,
Yeah.
"Hey, coach, whether it be just, I haven't even got to a coach. I've been so busy, I haven't even got to do the application process yet." They understand that. They understand all those, everything you're going to say. But say something instead of ghosting you. Say something instead of being disrespectful. Say something instead of, "Hey, I just got this offer from St. Thomas, and the next 5 minutes I'm tweeting
hey, I got an offer from somebody else, basically just being disregarding to the offer I just got. I believe there's a level of respect and professionalism you need to bring to the table because now you're entering a world where that is going to be required of you. Not expected, required of you to communicate. When you're in football on the football team in a collegiate setting, you're required to communicate with your teammates and with your coaches. And if you don't, you won't be on that team very much longer because you have to communicate. So yeah.
That for me, that's all pieces to the puzzle. That's just all pieces to the puzzle. Like it's so many really good football players that that come from good cultures and that want to be in a good culture. If they don't do those things, then we just move on. Like we're going to win regardless of one or two players. Like we're not. I'm not no longer ever so desperate to get one person. There's a line of communication. I don't want to recruit anyone that I don't enjoy being around.
Mm.
If I don't enjoy being around them and then I bring them here, then that means that relationship is going to be stumbly for the next 4 to 5 years. Why even do that, right? Let's get guys that I'm on the same page with. I mean, it's going to be demanding. You're going to get an incredible job. You're going to win football games. These are all just pieces to the puzzle. And if you ain't communicating with me now, then you're not going to communicate when we get here, and then that's my own fault. I can't blame you. So to me, that's all pieces to the puzzle. Go ahead and go somewhere else.
What do you as a coach? What do you prefer, character or athleticism?
Oh, character.
Mm-hmm.
Character. Now you can't be slow and you can't do these things, but
No, I know what you're saying.
if it's even, I mean, we went 7-3 in our very first year at FCS, and it's based off of the character, and we have some nice guys now, but character goes a long way, and it really starts with belief and doing things the right way. So yeah, character is number one in my book.
Yeah, I think character is the number one program builder, right? You got to have kids with character, and then athleticism comes with character as you start to grow and mature as a program. I think if you just get a lot of guys with athleticism, you just got a team, and that team eventually goes away because when the athlete's gone, you don't have much there. So I'm with you with character. I think character goes a long way, but I do believe I'm gonna just be perfectly honest with you. I think we need a lot of home training. I think recruits need a lot of home training. They need to understand how to maneuver through this and quit being babies. And I'm speaking specifically for a lot of kids that I know that act like babies when it comes to this process. You don't return phone calls. You don't do these things. You rather just ignore it and think the problem's going to go away instead of just facing it and just being a young adult and talking about it. Saying I don't mind. I think as coaches, and I hate to quit harping on it, but I hate when you guys reach out and a kid doesn't call you back or he doesn't respond to you in a fashionable manner. Like I even tell kids, this is what I tell kids. Hey, if you don't want to talk to the coach directly, call his office number in the middle of the night and leave a voicemail. Just giving him an update. If you feel so uncomfortable that you don't want to talk to him or you don't get the right vibe from him or whatever the case may be, call his office number late at night and just leave the voicemail and say, hey, coach, I did get your message earlier today. Unfortunately, I'm not interested, or unfortunately, I've been really, really busy. Whatever your message is going to be, but at least have enough common courtesy to call back. Because making a phone call now it's precious, right? We're in the age of text and Instagram. So when a coach takes his time to make an actual phone call to you, that means something. That's not like nothing to ignore. And I don't care what level it is. If you're the 5-star prospect in the Division III calls you, have enough common courtesy to just call them back, say, hey, coach, you know what? I got my top 10. Thank you for calling me. If things change, I'll get back with you later on. I'll make sure I reach out to you.
And I think that's just a continued part of the educational process, right? Just you give them tools, how to do it. I mean, a lot of recruits have never even had a relationship with an adult outside their family members. So it's always teachers, and that's always been transactional. So just giving them tools, continue to. Now everybody's not going to win and learn it, but just to know, hey, I'm giving you tools. Whether you want to do it or not, I'm giving you tools, and if you don't use it, then it's a reflection of who you are. So I agree. But we have to continue to educate them and give them tools.
Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about the portal.
for you guys, in particular, and then in general, how's the portal affected you guys in a positive and negative way? And then what do you think about the portal the way it is right now, as it is, and how much damage is it doing to high school recruiting?
Yeah, I think it's making it a lot very competitive, right? As of right now, what is doing to high school? I think it's making it very competitive as far as understanding the urgency in which roster availability is. Where student athletes could have taken a longer time. Just understanding that the longer they take, the more the market opens up with available players and players that have college experience. Uh, so I think it just creates more sense of urgency. Uh, over the landscape, there's just less opportunities, man. That's what a competitive market does. And just like you're saying, in the next 5 years after they graduate, they're going to be in a competitive job market, or some sense. So understanding, that you're in a much more competitive environment. So also when those opportunities come, like call the coach back, or make sure that
Mm-hmm.
you understand, have a sense of urgency and understand what it is that you want. Take the time to build in what it is that you want, and then when those opportunities come, make sure that you're aggressive, you're building a relationship with those programs so you can seize that opportunities when that small window opens up. Um,
Paul McPaul's right. I like that point. When that small window opens up, because we know those big windows close quick, super quick. Those FBS schools, they throw out. I mean, Coach Shea said it the best. I throw out 5 offers to my top 5 guys. One takes it. It's the window shut on the next 4. It's done. It's over with. So I think kids need to understand that time now is of essence in recruiting. It's you don't no longer have that privilege to wait. I mean, some guys do. Let's not be oblique. Those high 5-star kids or those one kids do have the privy to kind of pick and choose. But for the masses, that window is small now, and that time is very small because the competitive nature of college players already playing in 4-year programs, junior college players trying to come out, and now you as a senior, as a high school player, and you're the one with the least experience going against collegiate athletes. So you're bottom of the totem pole. I mean, let's keep it 100. They're the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to recruiting. I know for a fact schools are saying, hey, normally when I have the opportunity to recruit 25 kids, I'm only going after 7 high school kids, 7 to 8. It used to be I'm going after 20 and go get 5. Now it's flipped. Like I'm only gonna get like maybe 7 or 8 guys in my program, and the rest I'm gonna work it either through the portal. I'm gonna work it through guys either just transferring in from somewhere else. Or I'm gonna work it in with guys from junior college that have experience that can qualify. You guys at the high school level really got to show me a lot and show me that you're dedicated and willing to build that relationship for me to come get you. Is that a fair assessment? Did you think this kind of even falling in your realm? Do you think that's kind of
yeah,
where it's
You
going?
know what? I've noticed that through the college landscape. That has been a shift in college. Now, that does not necessarily factor into how the University of St. Thomas is building their football program, but it does in small bits. So if we just take out the entire um, recruiting class, and let's just break it down to one specific position. Well, yeah, the intensity, the windows and opportunities are very shallow. But us here, we want to build it from the ground up. That's why we want to make sure that we build those relationships with high school guys, and part of that evaluation is the kid calling us back. How is the student athlete responding to our communications? How is the student athlete responding to directives? And those are the biggest eliminators. Now, when it comes to to still building and evaluating through the transfer portal, we're still doing that, and we want to see how a student athlete from whatever school, how he responds, and how he responds to directives, because even at an older age, he's still going to get incorporated into our culture, and we do things very specifically, and we do things at a really high level. So, all of it is an elimination process. When I
Mhm.
look at process, it's an elimination. So, if I ask them to fill out a questionnaire and it takes them 3 or 4 times, man, I'm really moving on. Uh,
Yeah.
I really am, because we can't afford to take on that amount of risk of telling a guy 3 or 4 times to do one simple thing. So, whether it's the transfer portal or high school, we choose to build it through high school, and of course, we'll sprinkle in at some very specific positions, guys that are very high caliber that brought something. That brought something to their past program, and that will bring something of value to our program.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. I mean, I wanted to scream out preach when you're saying that, but definitely, I don't need to tell them when someone, a young adult, 3 or 4 times to do something, right? That's just a game killer right there. I can't. You guys don't have the privilege of time. It doesn't work when we're being on the field, and it doesn't work in the recruiting process to tell someone 3 or 4 times. At that point, like you said, it's time to cut. Time to kind of cut it. I'm gonna ask you a different question now. We're gonna pivot a little bit. Um, Parents. What parents? What is okay? I'm trying to see how to frame this question. Parents' involvement in the recruiting process. How much is too much?
Um, so I think it's really important that, uh, like, part of our evaluation is that we want to hear from the student athlete. Um, so let's say, for example, that you meet a student athlete on the field, and their parents are there, and you ask, the student athlete a question, and the parents continue to answer that question for them. That becomes that's not a positive. We're asking the students because we want to find out more about them, and when we hear the parents are answering too many questions, uh, we'll try to remove the student from the parents, because we want to learn about the young man, but also we want to make sure uh, that the student athlete wanted more than the parents, because you also see sometimes that the parents wanted more than the student athlete.
Mhm.
And so that's also part of evaluation, where we definitely want parents in the recruiting process is, we want them on visits. We want them to come see our campus. We want them to be able to feel free to ask us questions. And overall, when it comes to the security and the understanding and helping their young student athlete have a good understanding of what it is that they get involved in, those are welcome. But when there's posturing involved, um, as far as trying to be uh, taking one step ahead, I think those become red flags. But I just think at the most part, most parents, I would say 90% of the parents that I've been involved with, they just want what's best, and they need to be educated in the process. A lot of times you'll see dads that kind of pop in and try to um, you know just try to be a little bit too involved. But once again, it's up to us as coaches. I've been doing this for 25 years. A lot of times, this is the parents' first time around in the cycle or second time around in the cycle. So I have no problem saying what I need to say to a parent, and if that becomes too much, well, then once again, that's all pieces to the puzzle. Then they won't fit, because this is how we're going to do things here at the University of St. Thomas, and this is how I'm going to recruit your son, and we need to be on the same page on how we move forward. And I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but we're going to have that relationship, and we're going to be very direct.
That's well. Then what's too little? I'm gonna flip it now. What's too little of a parent's involvement
Oh
when we
my
want to
God.
recruit?
Like, if you're if I'm recruiting a kid from out of state, and they don't come to the visit, they never come to campus. Now I worry about the kids. Whether he'll stay, because if the parents are not supportive in that, and making sure that they're the kid is just a natural instinct. Like if they coming on a visit, if they're about to commit, and you as a parent, of course there's certain circumstances that can happen, but that's too low. Or not having talking to the recruiting coach or any of the coaches along the way, that's a red flag. And now I'm looking at the student a little bit different. Like, does he have the support system enough to move a couple of states away? So there's a fine line, and I think it falls back on both the parent and the recruiting coach, because we're bringing people into our family. And when you're bringing outside people into the family, an education process needs to go into it, how we do things and all that stuff. And then to me, that's my job. I'm gonna
Yeah,
educate you. We're gonna build a relationship, and through that relationship, we're gonna get on the same page. Because I'm not afraid to tell anybody, hey, this is how we're gonna do things, and you don't like it, then this is not the place for you.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's very important because I see a lot in parents today. As soon as they turn 18, they're like, "You're on your own. You got to you go do it." I believe that's completely wrong because for 17 years, 364 days, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds, you've been guiding that young person and that young man, and all of a sudden you cut that off. Some 18-year-olds are not equipped to make adult decisions, right? They're not equipped. I think parents always need to be a part of the evaluation process, a part of the process of recruiting. But I think there's a fine line though. You have to. It's a very fine line you have to walk, being either too involved or not enough involved in order to make sure it's the right fit. Because I think you hit the key. You said the key word, that support mechanism. If they don't have that support mechanism, and it doesn't have to be out of state either. That could be right around the corner, down the street in St. Thomas. If they don't have that support mechanism from their parents or from that person or their guardian or someone, whoever that person in their life, it's really, really difficult for them to make that transition from high school to college because it's going to be a different world. I think kids just think, hey, I'm going there to play football. That's going to be the end of it. We have a whole caseload of schoolwork, time management, learning how to do your laundry, learning how to cook, where to eat, and playing football on top of that. It's a big shift change. And some kids are equipped to do it right away and be able to manage it without a problem. But majority of them need some kind of help and some guidance along the way. And that best support is from home, right? And then it comes from coaches. So that's why I was asking the too little part. Where's the too little kind of set in? And you hit it right on your head. We've got about 8 more minutes. Let's talk about NIL and how does it affect you guys at all? Because you guys said you have a strong base, as far as alma mater that's there, the support mechanism for the school. Has that started to come into play at all yet? Because it's coming down. I tell everybody right now, it's at the big level now, but it's going to trickle down to the smaller levels eventually. That NIL, whether it be the team NIL, where they can give everyone a little bit of something, or whether it be some individuals that come there that get NIL. How do you, one, feel about it, and how is it any way affecting you guys at this point?
As far as an athletic department, our athletic department has started putting in educational programs for our student athletes, because we are in one of the top media markets in the entire country. People don't realize that in Minnesota, and especially in the Twin Cities, we're in one of the top media markets. So the education process has begun. We talk to our student athletes about these opportunities that are before them, and how to navigate the NIL. I personally think that it can definitely be a positive, but it definitely needs to come with education,
Mhm.
and it needs to come with education, on a lot of different factors. But you want to first protect your program and making sure that it doesn't become a distraction. That's what we do right now as far as our education, and then we make sure that it doesn't become a distraction. And opportunities are popping up for our student athletes, but we really appreciate how our athletic department has put on the education program for our students.
That's all. I think that's the first time I've heard that, and I think that's good news to my ears that you guys are taking some type of step to educate these young men, navigating whether it be $50 to $500 to 5,000. I mean, they got to understand one, the process of it, the meaning behind it, and like you said, where it doesn't become a distraction to the school. I'm in favor of the team NILs. I really do believe that when the schools like LSU did, where everybody gets a piece. But we know we're in a different. This is a different climate for everybody. It's brand new, so the way people move through it. I got one last one for you, man. One last for you. It's gonna be you can just select the one or the other. What do you prefer, track or 707? Yep, I'm gonna shoot you with that one. Just say it, man. No, I ain't doing it.
You know what? I'm gonna go track. But
Okay.
if you ask me as the player, I'm gonna go 707.
I need you as the coach, though. I need the coaches. The coaches' perspective. Track, right?
From the coach's perspective, it's track, and I'm not necessarily saying that it's right, but track, you get hard times. You know that it's certain kind of structures. There's some team orientation that goes along with it. There's measurements that we're used to, measuring. So hey, the kid is a sub 11, and then we put together his pounds. All those are measurables for us. The highlights in the 7-on-7, those are really just kind of hard to put into the evaluation process, unless you're there and you're seeing the movements, because, you want to see contact balance in most of the plays, and you want to see, passes under pressure, and type thing. So, yeah, if I'm a player, I'm going to go 707, but a coach, I want track. So, I'm sorry. I had to be political on that last one, but that's just how I feel.
No, man. I try to hit every coach with that question because that's probably one of the most controversial questions everybody asks, especially young recruits in high school. I always say, look, definitely run track if you're able to. You're able to. And 707 you should be able to play both. You should be able to somehow try to balance both if you want to. Obviously, it's easier if you play with your team and not a club, but you got to figure out some way kind of to get both of them in. But if that's to come down to a choice, track is the one you need to go to more so than 707. That's my take on it. I know 707 coaches probably going to put a bullseye on me, but I mean I'm being real with it because I need to hear from coaches. You can't have someone like me just keep telling them that. It needs to come from coaches so they better understand. Your prospects needs to get out there on the track. They have to if they want to be, especially if you're a skill position, a skill guy that's going to carry the ball or catch the ball or DB. You got to be out there on that track. It's really important for them to get those times. I think that just improves your recruiting.
Yeah, right. Just does. I think you nailed it. I think hopefully it can be and not or, right? Because that gives the kid the best overall experience and stay competitive. So hopefully it can be and not or.
Yep. I hope so too. I hope that, to be honest with you, like here in California, I know there's been a proposal to make 707 part of a spring sport. Making a competitive spring sport so they can actually do it within the school. I would love to enjoy that. I think that would be a great thing to be able to do. Keep them involved, keep those kids engaged, keep them going, keep them involved, and that way you can balance both because you're in the same you're in school. I think that would be the best for everybody, but we don't live in utopia, unfortunately. We live in the way the world is right now, but I mean I'm hoping that's the one. Brother Jarod, man, I can't thank you enough for coming on my podcast. Man, you always bring, you shine some light on things, definitely. I love the military aspect. I think people do not know about that. I think they need to know about that. I think they need to get a better understanding how that works for you, not only your school, but the several schools that offer it across the country and also in our state. I can't praise you enough, brother, man. I just appreciate you taking the time to share your knowledge and giving us your thought on Straight from the Horse's Mouth, man.
I appreciate you. And, I think, like I said, I'm going to correct you. You said 10 years. I'm saying it's more like 15, 16 years that we've been working together. And I just thank you for what you do in the entire community, man. It's just absolutely just honor. And it's just been an honor to be on here and a whole lot of fun. We got a chance to debate the whole deal. Let's do it again sometime soon.
Yeah, man. So, hey, shit, I'm when I get the link out, We're gonna share it to everybody. I hope everybody can get, let's grab a nugget from this. I hope this can spread out through Minnesota so they can get a nugget from it. And like I said, man, this platform here is to cut out the middleman of information. I want you guys to get it straight from the horse's mouth. People that are in the profession that are doing it can tell you exactly how it's supposed to work, and not hear it from some out there, some street agent, or hear it from some cousin they used to play, or somebody that think they know what they're talking about. They need to hear it directly from coaches so they can get a better understanding of the whole entire process. So that's where we at, man. Thank you for joining me on Straight from the Horse's Mouth. We'll see you guys next week. Salute.
Stress.